And now entering the ring, Jason Hughes, Dustin Dougie Campbell, and Jason Papaw White, the Triple Threat, here on the Strong Booking Podcast.
All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Strong Booking Podcast. Just going to go ahead and thank our sponsors real quick. McGuire's Insurance Agency, Prestonburg Picture Folk, and High Tech Signs and Graphics. Those guys do a lot for us, and we appreciate them. And we're going to go ahead and start the show. So today we got another special guest with us, Gary Damron. He's a producer, and I'm not sure what else you do, like with ASW. I think, or are you the owner too?
Yeah, owner, promoter,
and all that. Yeah, that's what I thought. So we got him on, and we're gonna ask him some questions, and just find out a little bit about him, and ASW. So if this guy's got any questions for you, I'm gonna let them go first.
Fine.
All right, Gary. I just wanted to ask you how you got into promoting your own promotion and everything that went into getting that going, and just give us a little background on ASW. Let the people know that's tuning in with us tonight, what all ASW brings to the table as far as professional wrestling goes.
Okay. Well, I could actually write a book about that, actually. I started promoting Southern gospel music when I was 17 years old, and I did that for about 9 years. And one night I happened to be flicking through the channels, and I came across the 700 Club. I'm sure you guys have heard of that at some 700 Club television program. Well, they had Ted DiBiase on there. Mm-hmm. And Ted DiBiase was talking about how after wrestling, he left and started going out and ministering. And he was a preacher. He was an ordained minister. And he was going sharing his testimony at, different churches. And you could book him. And I thought, wow, what a great idea. I will book Ted to come in and speak at one of my gospel shows. Well, I did that. Well, him living in he lived in Mississippi. So he had to fly in the night before. So in the meantime, I was talking with George South about he and I doing a wrestling show together. Because I thought, well, hey, I do gospel. Promoting an event is no different than any event. You're still going out and working to get your building booked and all this other stuff. So I thought, well, we'll just do that and see. And so George told me, he said, well, if you've got Ted coming in, he's going to have to come in the night before. So he'll be there anyway. Why don't we do the wrestling show the night before the gospel show? So I said, sure, we'll do that. So we did that. Well, in the meantime, about a year later, I went to an event in Charlotte, North Carolina. They used to do a thing called Fan Fest. You all may have been familiar with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I had went down, and they had these things called Q&A. Well, you and I know what Q&As are. Those are question and answer sessions. And I thought, man, what a great idea. Instead of doing a wrestling show where there's a lot more expense, I'll just do something simple like a Q&A with these guys, bring them in, do autograph signing and all that other stuff. Well, I actually tried that in December of 2005. I booked Jim Cornette, Midnight Express, and we had it in Pikeville, Kentucky at the Pikeville College. They have a thing on the third floor called the Booth Auditorium, I think is what it's called, maybe. I'm thinking that's what it's called. Well, back then, nobody knew what a Q&A was. They thought, well, if you're advertising wrestling, there should be a ring set up and matches. We didn't do that good. I only drew like 30 people. So I thought, man, if we're going to do this, you've got to have a ring with matches. That's the only way you're going to be able to get a crowd to come out. So in March of that following year, which was 2006, that's when I actually started calling myself ASW. If I wanted to be technical, I've been running wrestling for 16 years, but I only celebrate 14 because we didn't start ASW until 2006. So that night, we ran the Williamson Fieldhouse in Williamson, Virginia. It was on a Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock, if you can believe that. And we had Buff Bagwell, Billy Gunn, and Heidenreich, who had just got released from WWE. And we did pretty well with it. We had a good maybe like 200 people or so. I mean, it was a good little turnout. And I ran another show in August of that year with the Midnight Express versus the Rock and Roll Express. We had Jim Cornette there. Did about the same numbers, and that was on a Saturday night. So we did a little bit better with that. And it just kind of went from there. We've had ups and downs where, we were doing really good, and then we went through a small period where we fell off and wasn't drawing much of nothing. I can remember having a few shows back around 2009, 2010, where we had more wrestlers booked on the show than we had fans seats. So, but we overcame that. We kept going, kept pushing. I kept working hard. I sacrificed a lot, to be honest with you. I would take my paydays and buy wrestlers plane tickets, that we booked to come in. There's a lot of expense. People don't realize.
Oh, yeah.
Great expense, in promoting a show. So
Yeah.
that's kind of how it all got started.
Well, that's cool. I've noticed, especially probably in the past, I want to say 2 or 3 years, you guys have really like skyrocketed. Seems like, you're doing like fairly well for yourself with the promotion and everything. And I know it might have been 2 years ago or 3 years ago. And I've seen you post this before. You've had the Hardy Boys were on the show one time.
Yeah.
And I think you even said before that was like something that really like boosted you guys again.
Guys, honestly, God has been good to me.
Yeah.
I have, we started out, we did a bunch of shows, and then we got contacted by a car dealership up in Charlotte in 2015. And he said, hey, I want to do a show at my car lot. And I was like, oh, yeah, we can definitely do that. Well, I'm thinking, okay, he's going to book, probably a Hacksaw Jim Duggan or somebody like that, which would have been fine. That would have been great. Hey, we'll do something like that. Well, he calls me and he's like, well, I want to book Ric Flair. I'm like, well, that's somebody I've never dealt with. That's kind of like out of my league. I don't know if he said, no, you find out how much it costs and call me and let me know, and we'll go from there. So I got a hold of some people, and they put me in touch with the right people. So Ric Flair, I called the guy back and told him how much it cost, and he said, okay. He said, let's book it. And I was like, what? I'm like, are you serious? He's like, sure. He said, yes, a car lot, they can afford to do that kind of stuff, I said, okay. So we booked Ric Flair, and he said, you know what? He said, I want to add somebody else to that. And he said, what about Ricky the Dragon Steamboat? And I said, okay. I said, well, I'll call and book Ricky. So we had Ricky the Dragon and Ric Flair together at a car dealership in Charleston, West Virginia, Dutch Miller. And we had probably... They estimated we had over 3,000 people show up, but it was a free event. So, I mean, if you got
that's awesome.
Steamboat for free, signing free autographs, you're going to have 4,000 people.
Yeah.
But I think that was the start of helping us because it kind of put us on the map. You know what I'm saying? And so that was a great help. And then in 2016, the end of 2016, I had booked Matt Hardy by himself. Well, December, he calls me up. The show was supposed to happen in January. That's when the show was. He calls me up in December, and he says, hey, we're doing a storyline in TNA right now where me and Jeff are going out and doing, we're appearing at different indie shows across the country, winning the tag titles. And he said, we're calling it the Expedition of Gold. And I was like, okay, because I wasn't really watching at that time. I knew Matt was doing a new gimmick that had gotten over, but I really wasn't for sure what they were actually doing. And he says, well, you got me booked on this date in January. And he said, what if I bring my brother Jeff with me at no cost to you? And I was like, okay, wait a minute. Did I just hear you correctly? And he said, yeah. He said, TNA is going to cover the cost of Jeff. He said, we just want you to allow us to come in and film, whatever we want to film, give us free access. And they're going to use it on TNA's TV program. Well, of course, an indie promoter is going to eat that up. I said, well, sure. Yes, please let that happen. Please, God. He said, well, give me a week or two to work on it, and I'll call you back. So in the meantime, I couldn't say nothing to nobody. For one, I didn't want to jinx it. And two, I didn't want to get people's hopes up and then me go back and say, well, it's just going to be mad. So at Christmas, it was right around Christmas, he called me up and he said, hey, we're good to go. He said, you can go ahead and announce that Jeff's going to be there with me. I said, oh my gosh. I said, this is unbelievable. I said, okay. So we advertised the Broken Hearties coming to Madison, West Virginia, where Madison, if you've ever looked at a map or if you know anything about us, we're in the middle of nowhere. We're right outside of Charleston, but it's just a little town, a little coal country town. That's all Boone County is. And I was like, wow, here we are bringing the Hardy Boys and TNA, and a TV program that's going to be seen worldwide here to little Boone County. And we ended up having over 800 people that night. And it was a phenomenal night. And I think that, again, was one of the starts of our, rising up and getting known, because people noticed us. And it just helped us get more people to come in.
Yeah, that's for sure. I had seen you guys around for a long time, but when I seen Matt and Jeff there, that's something that really drew me to you guys. And kept following you, so it was a big deal for you guys. And
not that people promoters can say they work with Jeff. Jeff doesn't work with any shows.
No, that's a pretty big deal, And so let's just jump to today's times. I know you guys were supposed to have 2 shows, that were I think they were this month. Supposed to be one of them was the Hall of Fame show, or
we had April the 13th
anniversary show,
and we had April the 18th, and then May the 16th, and we had to cancel both of those.
Yeah. So kind of tell us, how's that affecting you, and everything? Is it affecting guys or?
Well, of course, we're all brokenhearted. Everybody misses it, and I think the worry right now is just when are we going to get back? When are we going to be able to do this again? I mean, they keep telling it, okay, well, we're getting ready to open stuff back up, and we're fixing to start letting things happen again. So I really feel in my heart it's not going to be much longer.
Yeah,
I'm thinking maybe June or July, possibly.
Yeah, I know. That was something all 3 of us worked together. And we had to, plan our trips and stuff accordingly. And it was something that we were trying to plan. We were looking forward to coming to one of those 2 events. To check you guys out and stuff, and come support you. And then here we are now talking on Zoom. So but I want to go ahead and ask you this too. Go ahead and name some of the guys that you got, working for your promotion, some of the wrestlers and stuff,
Well, I've got a great list of guys. In my opinion, well, it's not just my opinion. If you took a survey and asked who was the most over guys in the state of West Virginia, all the guys that work for me would be the ones that would be on that list. I got a guy that's been with me for many years. He's probably, I think 2006 was his first show, or not 2006. He came in 2009, I'm pretty sure. But his name is Rocky Rage. Good friend of mine. He started out, kind of small, in wrestling, it's all about getting over. That's all wrestling. It's all about if you can connect with the people. Yeah. And he did that. He did a great job of that. And to this day, Rocky is probably my most over guy. And we got a great bunch of guys. I've got young boy from Boone County, and it's always good to have somebody from the town that you're running your show in. But he's getting out and wrestling all over the state and going into Ohio and different places. But his name is Huffman. Huff Manley is what he calls himself. He's doing great. I've got guys like you had him on a few weeks ago, David Anthony. He wrestles for me. Good kid. Got a great look too.
Yeah.
Shane Storm, Seth Martin, Cobain and Kryzak. I mean, we've got a lot of great guys that are making good names for themselves just all over the state of West Virginia and even into Ohio and Kentucky and places like that. So I'm really proud of the guys we've got.
That's cool. That's good. You guys got any questions for him?
Yeah, I'm glad you're on the show, Gary. Good to talk to you.
Yeah,
explain to everyone how they could watch your shows. Is it YouTube or what?
We do have some stuff on YouTube. We probably need to update that. We probably need to update and put some fresher stuff on here. I'm gonna have to grab that phone and put it off the hook or something. I don't know if you guys can hear it.
That's fine.
That normally don't ring that long. Usually it'll ring 3 times and that's it. It's ring
Somebody really wants to talk to you.
But we probably need to update our YouTube channel, but it should be youtube.com All-Star Wrestling WV. I'm pretty sure is what our channel is. So we've got some stuff on there. We've got some little night, kind of cool skits that we've had. We did a thing with Ron Simmons. That was a lot of fun. I think him and Jim Cornette did a spot where they did a thing in their locker room. That was fun. So
yeah,
we've got a few of that stuff on there.
Yeah, you do a good
And we
job.
also have DVDs. We got DVDs for every show that we've ever done. So I think we're almost up to our 100th show. And I've got DVDs of everything. So
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, you do. You got a good product. I enjoy it.
So-
you've got
thank you.
got an action figure made of yourself, don't you, Gary?
Oh yeah, he does.
I do actually.
How did that happen? How did that come about?
There was a guy. Now I'm big on the LJN figures. You all know what LJN figures.
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I grew up on them. I love them.
I will show you this. I'm right here with all this stuff. This was for people that don't know, this was the LJNs. This is one still in the package. And these are my favorite figures, probably because these were the figures that I grew up with. They were the figures that were popular back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that I threw around and ran as a kid. So those were my favorites. So I found out that there was a guy on eBay who makes custom figures. And it was like, he takes figures and makes them of people that were never made before, that never had an LJN figure, if you're a big LJN fan. And I said, yeah, I definitely would want, to have some figures made. So I got a hold of him and I'm like, hey, can you make me this guy, and this guy? And he said, sure. He says, I can make you those. And I said, okay, great. So we go ahead and he makes me those. And then he says, well, I'm going to send you a surprise. He said, I'm going to send you a figure that you don't even know that I'm sending you. So he sent me that as like a gift. So
That's cool.
That was really cool. And I loved it and I've had it ever since.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
Well, speaking on that, as everybody can see, in your background stuff, you have a room full of just wrestling action figures, memorabilia, and everything else. So further on from you being a producer and stuff, looks like you're also a collector of all.
Yeah, actually, I've got my camera right now set on my shelf that has a whole slew of LJN figures. I've got Hasbro figures on the last 2 shelves. I've got figures of I'm a big Golden Girls fan too, so I've got Golden Girls stuff. I've got the WCW figures here. I've got I'm going to show you. Sorry, I'm going to help me get I'm not used to turning my camera around. I'm going to show you just a little bit of this room here. I don't know if I could show you there is my horror figure collection. It's pretty good too. I'm pretty proud of it. And then this is the shelves. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's nice.
So what got you into, collecting all this?
Like I say, most of the figures that I've got now are the ones that I had when I was a kid. I just displayed that we got them out. We had moved to the house that we're in now back in 2000. So I had got all my figures out of storage, cleaned them up, and put them on a shelf. And I thought, man, that looks so good. I'm going to, stuff that I've had, all the, and just kind of got more over the years and just added to it. And I just thought, well, shoot, I want to make me a collection room. So that's pretty much the way it, and I love coming in here, just sitting and looking at everything, because it's pretty cool.
So it's really impressive.
Definitely cool. Definitely cool.
Thank you.
I want to go back.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to ask you a question. I want to go back to when the Hardys were on there. I seen a video, I believe, Rocky Harden put on Facebook the other day. Hardy pushing down the stairs in a garbage can.
Yeah.
And that was a big segment for you all. And then they were talking that, WWE later recreated that,
Within a year they were doing it. Yeah. It's pretty crazy.
It was something that took place with you all first, that all goes back to when you said, when the Hardys were there, it kind of helped boost you all as ASW and, put that name out. And, for something like that to be still out there for anybody to go see. And it's actually on YouTube. I looked it up. I just, I seen the clip and everything, and I went back and watched that whole segment. And it was, I know he was your champion up until the last, or your last show. He got defeated. That was your Arn Anderson show. Arn was there. Important.
Yeah. He had lost it the show before. He'd lost it to Ron Mathis.
Okay.
I should have mentioned Ron a while ago. Ron is he's doing very well. He's really well known up in Ohio, and he's actually my champion now. So yeah, Ron's a great talent. He can do about anything. If you want a death match, which I'm not big into those, but he's into that. He can do those. He can do old school wrestling, technical wrestling. He can do any of it. So he's a good guy.
Let's see here. How much time we got left, Kevin?
Should have about 10 minutes at least.
10 minutes?
Yep.
Okay.
Plenty of time.
Good. Is there anything you want to speak on, Gary?
Well, as far as other promoters and stuff that are trying to build their shows and build their product, in my opinion, the best way to do that is to stay in one place and just try to build that one town. So many promoters today, and I've never understood this. They want to hop, skip, and jump and go. They think they're Vince McMahon. They want to go to this town. If you don't have TV, you can't do that. And to me, the only way you're going to build your crowd is if you stay in one place and just try to focus on doing the best shows you can, do. If you can afford it, the best thing to do is to bring in a name, a legend, or somebody from TV, because that is going to help you grow. People come and they see people that they grew up watching on TV, or if it's somebody that they just saw on WWE about 2 or 3 months ago, they're going to tell their buddies, hey, let's go see this show. We had a great time. They got another show next month. That's how you grow.
Yeah.
So that would be, something I've always wanted to tell other promoters, like, why are you all jumping from town to town to town? Stay in one place.
Well, you saying bringing in
great.
the legends, or somebody that's been on a WWE or other promotion, on TV, that people have seen. You bring those guys in to draw the people in. Well, then the people get to see what you have that they've not seen before, and they might fall in love with somebody, a wrestler that you got on the roster.
That's exactly how it's happening. So, we bring in the big names to draw the crowd in, and then they become fans of the ASW guys. And hey, I want to come and see him now. I don't care about the big name. I'm coming to see him.
Yeah.
And that way, we've got a lot of our fans. So that has been a big help too. And that's what you're supposed to do with bringing in a name. It's not the fact that you want to bring in a name, just bring in but you use them to sell tickets, to advertise your guys, to build your product.
Yeah.
That's old school. That's old school type booking, isn't it? Kind of like a territorial type deal. I like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, the old school way of thinking still kind of works today. A lot of people, I know everything has changed. Everything, wrestling and everything else has changed over the years. Wrestling is definitely different today than it was in the 80s and 90s. We all can agree on that.
Yeah.
But the way of thinking still works, and the business mind still works,
Yeah.
I was going to mention something else and forgot what I was going to. I need to mention my sponsors. I have been blessed with.
Go ahead.
That to me has been one of the best things too. Is when you have sponsors that are helping you, financially, and such a big help. And Stephen New Law up in Beckley, very, very well known amongst the wrestling community. If you ever listen to Jim Cornette's podcast, talk about Steve New all the time.
Yeah.
Every episode
has been a big, and he's become one of our good friends. Very, very good friend of ours. Yeah. And we thank him and love him. There's a church that actually sponsors us in Chapmanville, West Virginia.
That's cool.
Haven Church. And the idea, because people think, well, why would a church want to sponsor a wrestling show? Well, the way they look at it is this is their way of going out to the community and kind of a community outreach type thing.
Yeah.
So they come and set up a table and pass out cards about and they've actually had some of their fans start going to their shows or to their services. I'm sorry. Actually, fans from our shows start going to their services. So that's been a good thing too. So we're blessed. We're very, very blessed.
That's one thing I want to say. I really enjoy and love how you base everything around faith. That's big to me, and I like that.
Me too.
Sure. Absolutely. All good things, all good things. I believe that's a big part of the reason I've been able to do all I've got to do is because I have given him credit for a lot, give him credit for everything.
Yeah.
He blesses that.
That's cool, that you saying the church is sponsoring you, because like you said, that's a great way to, your fans are now attending that church. So that's awesome.
Sure. God can still use things, even though a wrestling show doesn't really uplift his name much, but you can still find ways of ministering to people.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's cool.
They see God in you. That's a big thing.
Yeah, that's cool. What else, guys?
I just want to once again thank Gary for coming on. I know we done a little trial run last night, make sure everything was going to work out for us and everything.
Yeah.
Go give these guys a follow. They have Facebook. Yes. They're on Twitter. Gary is very, if you want to message Gary, he gets back to you pretty quick. I know we messaged him when we first started this, just trying to see if there was a chance that we could come over and do a podcast from one of his shows, and he was very receptive to that, wanted us to come over. I know things right now have not worked out for us, but time will tell. I got a feeling things are going to turn around, and we're going to be able to come over and actually get to meet Gary in person, introduce ourselves. I know
that would be good.
He supported us from the beginning. He got one of our shirts. Actually,
thanks. I wear it all the time.
Appreciate
Gary,
it.
if you want to stand up and show your shirt off, I know you've got a lot of ASW merch that's for sale. I seen you this past week.
You can see this is the baseball shirt. It's got the blue sleeves and the gray, and then it's got my.
That's actually a pretty cool shirt.
And then I've got some
one.
ASW shirts too. So
Yes,
we
a
got
nice shirt.
we actually got some rally towels coming too next week.
Now, if somebody wants to, that brings up another question. If somebody wants to purchase a shirt, do you have a website, or do you go through like Pro Wrestling Tees or anything?
No, you know what? The best way to do it is just to contact me. I
Contact you.
did have a website, but to me, I just feel like websites are kind of outdated. I don't know how many people still look at websites, you know?
You're right.
Everybody does Facebook now.
Yeah,
so
you're saying it's usually Facebook pages.
You're right.
Yeah,
So-
I just do all my work through Facebook. So
Yeah.
they can find me on Gary Damron. My profile picture is of me in a red shirt standing in the middle. I got Arn Anderson on one side and Stephen P. New on the other. They can look up All Star Wrestling West Virginia, and that should connect you to me. So,
Where'd your name come from? That's what I want to know. The All Star Wrestling.
All Star, because I am an old school fan, and I love, that's when I watched, was back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Me too.
And when I started running, I thought I want to do something that kind of has an old school flavor. So we came up with the All Star Wrestling.
Okay. Yeah.
One more
Well,
thing while we're
Go ahead.
while we're on the merch, before that, just have all your guys that wrestle for you if they've got websites of their own, or if they've got anything on Pro Wrestling Tees or any other website, have them share their info on our page. I'll share it, try to get it across. I know we've been working with a group out of Louisville. We're trying to promote indie wrestling the best we can right now, because I know it's hard for them, because a lot of them, this is what they do for a living, wrestle these shows week by week. So, we're just trying to help everybody any way we can. We're here to help everybody. We just love wrestling.
Sure.
It don't matter what promotion we're watching. We just enjoy the art and craft of professional wrestling in any fashion. So we just want to try to help out in any way we can.
Yeah. You can tell them, they can send us a message that, are on our Strong Booking page, or they can message one of us and send their product over, and we'll share it to our page or whatever they want to do.
All the guys have got T-shirts. Definitely.
Got about 4 minutes, guys.
I just want to go ahead and thank our sponsors one more time. McGuire's Insurance Agency, High Tech Signs and Graphics, and Prestonsburg Pigment Folk. Without those guys, we wouldn't be doing this. So just give them a big shout out. And, Gary, if you got anything you want to say real quick.
Well, I've enjoyed myself. I've had a great time. I hope this won't be the last time y'all ask me to come on. Maybe we can do it again sometime.
We'll definitely, like Jason said, as soon as all this ends and we can get back to normal lives, hopefully we get to come down and, do a show from one of your events or something,
Sure. Yeah, definitely. Sounds good. I'd love that.
Yeah. You guys got anything, Shay? Double J's?
Go ahead, Jason.
He shows. Yeah.
I just want to thank you again, Gary, for coming on.
I want to thank you for coming on. God bless.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you, man.
Yep. God bless you, man.
Hey, God bless you guys.
God bless you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And hopefully, I know it's probably been stressful on you during these times. And hopefully, we all come out better,
Yeah.
stronger.
Yeah. Pretty sure that when this is all over, hopefully we'll all have a different outlook on things, and
Exactly.
everybody will be better people. I believe that.
Yeah, you're right. So, guess Kevin, you can go ahead and close us out.
All right. Once again, thank you all, and until next time, you've been booked.
Thank
Sir.
you.
Thank you.
Hey,
God bless.
Gary. Appreciate you, Gary.
Thank you, guys.
Mm-hmm.
You've been listening to the Strong Booking Podcast. Your hosts are Jason Hughes, Dustin Dougie Campbell, and Jason Papaw White. Your producer is Kevin Horn. This has been a production of Hat Media Services.